In the previous lesson, we made all of these keyframes that allowed our ball to bounce in, stretch out, and then finally lose its energy and roll out of frame. So now in this lesson, we're going to be turning this ball into a 3D looking ball. Right now it's pretty flat. And we're going to be using something that we haven't used before, and it's the layer styles. So let's go to a frame where we can see our ball in its normal state. And now we're going to right click. Let's first hit U to close off all those transform properties. Right click on our circle, go down to layer styles right over here. And we're going to add inner shadow. This is the first thing that we're going to add. And I will just turn my color into something a little brighter. Like this maybe. Okay, and you can see that there's this thin line going around the corner of our ball. This is the inner shadow that we just applied. So it's before, after. So now we're going to open up inner shadow, which is underneath layer styles, and use the settings that you see right here to make it look pretty good. So first, let's increase the distance because right now it's pretty tiny and we can barely see it. Just increase it like this, looking good. Then we're just going to increase the opacity by about this much. It's looking pretty good. You can also change the blending mode if you want. Turn it into a different color, but I'm going to stick with multiply. Then we're going to increase the size, which is going to basically blur out the edges. And already you can see that it's looking quite different. We have this soft shadow casted on our ball. But right now it looks like the light source is coming from here, and that's not good. So go to angle and just rotate this towards your light source. I think I'll make my light source from here. So just move it in towards the corner. You can also go for the other corner. Put it in like this. Let's just increase the size a little bit more. Maybe reduce the distance so I can get this soft shadow. And right now it's looking pretty good. If you want it to be more round, you can increase the choke right here and create something like this. But I'm going to keep it to 0 because we're going to be adding some other layers. So right now the goal of adding inner shadow is to create this effect. And now we can move on to our next layer style. Let's close off inner shadow, right click on our circle and add, go to layer styles and add inner glow. Because we got the shadow part, now we need the highlight part. Go into layer styles, open up inner glow, and it's basically the same thing, except this time it's about the light rather than the dark side. So first let's increase the size. You can see we get this glow. And then we're going to increase the choke, which will kind of turn this into a circle shape. Looking good. And finally, we can just, if needed, we can increase the opacity. Something like this. And instead of this color that we have, I'm going to grab the middle color, go into my colors right here and just choose a lighter version. We can see the difference. Maybe go a little lighter than that. You can see the preview as well. There we go. We have this soft glow right here, which is looking pretty good. And increase the size a little bit more. And now we have the inner glow for our shape. So I used 2 layer styles to make this look pretty good. We just need another layer style, which is, let's go over here, circle, right click, bevel and emboss, click on it once, open up the options, and you can add all of these layer styles to decorate the way that your shape looks. It's great when it comes to animations or anything that consists of textures and different lighting. So it's a great way to add a little bit of styling to each of your layers, especially when you have really nice illustrations or different shapes. So instead of adding them in the effects and presets, then masking them out, you can just go over to layer styles and make your shapes look really good. So this is our final layer style, bevel and emboss. If you've used Photoshop, this should be pretty familiar to you. But essentially, we're just going to work with the size. You can see that it's making it pretty metal looking. Just want to add a little bit. And of course, soften those edges out. Change the angle because we said the light source is coming from this area. And we can just change the highlight mode, which is the bright part, from screen into something else, maybe soft light. There we go. As for the shadows, I think we're good to go. We can also work with the opacity for the highlights or the shadows. Change the highlight color from this white into something purpley. There we go. There's our ball. That's looking pretty nice. Looks like a Play-Doh animation, which takes it away from looking flat as it did before. So this is what our ball looked like before. This is what it looks like now. And this is the bevel and emboss that we added right here, which helps with the highlights and the shadows that a shape would have if it was placed in this environment. I'm just going to go to the shadows, and instead of this black, I want to choose this purple and then just decrease the brightness of it. There we go, looks better. Then I'm going to see if I have any other black colors. Don't want to have that. There we go, inner shadow. Let's choose the same dark purple. This is optional. You could of course go with the black, but I wanted to have a lighter look to it. So this will do nicely. And now my ball is ready. It's looking pretty good. One last thing that I want to do is to create a reflection every time that this ball comes in contact with the floor. So as you can see, at certain points, it does touch the ground, and I want to make it look as if the ball gets the reflection from the ground. So let's duplicate our floor layer. Let's call this reflection. I'm going to give it a different color. Go back to the start, and we're going to add the Gaussian blur effect onto this reflection layer. And now what you want to do is to really increase the blurriness. I'm going to turn off gradient ramp, just increase it all the way. And I'm also going to turn off repeat edge pixels. So now you can see that it's kind of, if I single out this layer, we turned our floor, which looked like this before, into this. And this is perfect for that reflection. Let's take it out. And now we're just going to add another effect, which is called the set matte. Add it onto your reflection layer. And we're basically going to tell After Effects to show this really blurred out floor every time the ball comes close to it. So we're going to take matte from circle, your circle layer, just select it. And now every time that it comes into contact, I'm going to see a little bit of that orange, but what we can do is to hit P on our keyboard. Just going to move our reflection layer upwards. There we go. Let's bring back these set mattes and bring reflection above our circle layer. Maybe move it down a bit so we get a little bit of reflection, not too much. And now we're going to switch the places between these two. So set matte comes first and then it's Gaussian blur. Going to bring it up a little bit more. Something like this. So now every time the ball comes in contact, you can see here we don't have any orange. But here when it does come in contact, we're going to get this reflection. Again, it's going to be nothing, then the orange. And this is a really easy way to create a reflection for your ball. I think we missed the keyframes here. Let's hit P on our keyboard. Yep, it's not quite hitting the ground, so just click on this keyboard, bring down Y position. There we go. Just make sure that on each keyframe it is in contact with the ground. And that way we can see a nice reflection every time it moves towards the ground. Now I'm just going to add one final effect, which is completely optional. You don't have to do this, but I want the ball to change colors as it bounces. So maybe every time that it bounces, the color changes from this purple, and this can make it look a little bit more magical. So let's go ahead and type in hue and saturation. Add this on our circle layer. Go to the beginning, create a keyframe for channel range. Let's hit U. This is the keyframe that we're working with right now. Now let's go forward. So here it's going to look normal. Make a keyframe. We make a keyframe here, turn it on and off. Hit U, there's my first keyframe for color range. Now here, when it goes up, before it comes to the second floor, I'm going to change the master hue into a different color. Because we're dealing with hue and saturation, the entire circle is going to look different. So you don't have to worry about the layer styles because everything within that layer is being changed. So you can see that it transforms into this pink, touches the ground. Around here, I want it to maybe turn into a green. Let's try the original color. I'm going to delete this last keyframe, copy the first one, and paste it. So now it's going to be purple, hits the ground, transforms into this pink, hits the ground again, bring this guy here, transform into this green, hits the floor, and then goes back to being the original color. Let's play this back. Now, because on this keyframe, we went from this pink into the opposite direction, we are getting some segments where you can see it turns into different colors before it turns green. If you don't want this to happen, instead of going to the negative side, try to go towards the positive side. And that way you're going to get warmer colors and not colder colors. Depends on you. I'm going to go back to what I had earlier. So the direction that you choose will determine what type of colors you get. You can also open up this section right here to see the colors. So right now, this is the colder side, and this is the warmer side. So choose the direction in accordance to the colors that you like. And now we have this really nice, simple ball bouncing around and changing color. So we're done with our lesson. It was pretty easy. We learned about layer styles, and now we can decorate our illustrations in a fun way. I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson. I will see you in the next one.